Subscribe yourselves. Many topics. Days to each and everyone. Today we have Valdezo again. We are going to dedicate a lot. On Fridays to Los and the countrymen. To the Mexicans who live this or there. Not two, as we have talked about here. First, second, third, fourth generation. As General Director of Latino Donor. Collaborative things, thank you. Various studies with different institutions in the United States. And we want these numbers to be known. This carrying of the ASIN, the Mexicans in the United States. So today he is here to talk to us about Mexican women in the United States, and then there is. And Maria Lorna Ramirez. Raramuni runner known to all of you. Mirna Beatriz de la Cruz, star for everything. The others and you, and look amoral in the Bajada of Mexico and in Para. From the region of Cal, they are going to talk. Because they were a race to the Moors and to China. And they won, and the last race is coming, right? Last race of unstoppable Mexico. We will continue, but for now with those we announced. So we want to tell you about this extraordinary women and men's, because they were women and men's. He would be unstoppable Mexico. Well, then we present this. To these two topics before that. There is a link to Michoacan because we are starting a marathon program. The culture with the young threads of Mexico today starts, and Abraham Carros is there. Director of the Incubus with the Bunador from Michoacan. We will be a quick link and close the conference. Gentle homeland. Well, let's go to Michoacan, then Valdez, and then Estrelita, Lorna, and Miriam's. Very good morning, President of the. Thank you very much. We are very happy. You are happy to greet you here from Michoacan's. The hand of the SEP and through his instruction. And we push forward young Estrem forming Mexic. We are going to start throughout the country. In hundreds of thousands of schools and hundreds of public squares, more than 1.5 million young people are currently participating. In this rush of reading, I want to leave the word to our loved ones. That tells you a little about what's going on this day, so that all the people of Mexico are informed about NIS. Good morning, President, and everyone who is listening to us. I'm Ana from. Today on the day the student dreamed. The facts with yours of this pleasure, the one for the kill, in one of the points of the reading marathon. That is being carried out throughout the country, the position in the marathon inside. This is how he presents to you, to those who listen to us, that we young people are here with our hearts. Intensive, firm in the belief of the power that the Lita has. Turin poetry as tools of historical memory, and also as tools to imagine the Areo-Castilian hills. What should there be? The possible way to be young must be another way. It was possible to be human and to be free. I am the book of the Mexican poet and writer. Thank you so much. This is where Daniel Sofia, a normal school student from Duke, speaks to you. Special, I am 21 years old and I want to tell you that this is a moment. This is historic because for the first time, we young people go out to the streets, to the squares, to the schools, to read, to write, to have fun, to dream, to think that another world is possible, but above all, transform our country. Truly thank you very much, President. Forward, and if you thank them very much. President Valiant, we are there with the young people of Michoacan. Well, greetings. Dr. President, reading is culture in this. Freedom, so young people are that they are freedom, we have to press them and let reading lives. A hug. Then the most president, bravo, thank you, President. Thank you, Abraham. Let's see, Abraham, very quickly. Why don't you say what the marathon is? Reading? No, yes, President, I'll talk to you. In thousands of schools and hundreds of young positions are leaving. To read aloud, to give books, thanks to the Economic Culture Fund we are rep. Starting thousands of books, poetry is being read, free contests are being held. Terrorios, and we will be there all day. At the same time in all these places. Creating these spaces for reading, freedom, and good, the objective is for this to be built into a permanent exercise. To promote reading, to encourage participation, and to integrate young people. So well, participation is in the 32 states and in all municipalities. Of our country, reading is already arriving. The government of Mexico is even arriving to promote it. This beautiful event, this beautiful process, and we are going to continue working with the young people of Mexico. Encouraging as always that they read, that they cultivate, and that they are trained in transformation. There will be when the marathons are going to be, now I am among them. Did you see? Very good, President. Well, look, we have it. At least once a month nationally, but they are being installed every week. State exercises like the one we are carrying out to create these spaces for debate, discussion, where we are going to be promoting through writers. Mexicans, many of them young people who are going to promote writing laboratories too. That those who want to participate can do so as favors, believe us in the pages and social networks, because there we are going to be publishing every week where we are going to be with. How are we going to be promoting these spaces? And well. Comings and goings, everyone here, no one is superfluous, everything is very welcome, and we hope that is left behind and to participate in this process that the President reading is carrying out. Thank you, Abraham, you are part of young people transforming Mexico. Well, let's go. No, there was another, no, come on. Thanks a lot. If first of all, Madam President, for allowing me to be here again, it's a shame, no. Also to you in the audience, of course, and here I presented. And you are no longer compatriots, it is truly an honor. Today I have very good news from a group that sometimes doesn't appear in the titles. Most important economic newspapers in Laos, but it is growing. Making the United States grow a lot. And also in our country, which are Mexican women in the United States. It is truly an honor, I am one of them, so I identify tremendously with them. It moved me, sorry, but it is incredible to see it now with numbers. Because we people have already experienced it, the people in the audience who have family who have been in the United States. What it's like to be there, and he knows what the struggle is with all the good things that there are, but also with everything that means being outside your country, far from your food, your people, of your language, your traditions, etc. And when we see the result of this group is really very far-reaching. And I don't say this because I am obviously part of this, but because I see it daily with all my compatriots in the United States. So well, with that, let's start. I think we have a graph before that. Exactly, thanks, that's the one I wanted. I'm going to start you off. The numbers and this number I have, Mr. President, thank you very much for letting us. It's the scoop, we haven't actually released the report yet, but I bring you the scoop. Number that no one knows to this day except within us. Organization, Mexican women who work in the United States, and let me clarify, Mexican women. Immigrants and those who were born there. Along with the Mexican women who are of Mexican origin who are in the United States. and they contribute more than $1 billion a year. We are talking about what is the majority of the contribution of Latin women, and it is a very strong contribution of women in general in the United States. Forward so that they have a context of who they are and how much. How much are they growing demographically as well? There are 2 million Latinas in the United States, 14 million of those 22 are Mexicans of Mexican origin, so we are talking about a very high percentage, of course, which also has certain characteristics that make us so productive. And that is nothing more than what we do today if we do not return to the same trend. 1 in 4 women in the United States is Latina. I don't know if you knew this concept. 1 in 4 women in the United States is Latina, and 1 in 5 women is from Mexico. The age of Mexican women is very important because the average age is ours. Not mine, right? But the average in the United States is 30 years when the average is. Women in the United States is 44. We have talked before about the benefit of being such a young community. But this is extremely important because of the numbers that I am going to give you right away. Go ahead. Oh, 7 Casios. There are millions of Mexicans working in the United States. Even though we are such a young community, we have almost 8 million Mexicans working. And this is the number that I learned very well, which is 60. And 9% of Mexican women work. Get down again. That we are very young, so we are talking about young people start working early, and that people over 18 years old are working several shifts and is working, and that is why this economic contribution is a success. Forward. The next one, please, yes. Well, as it is, there are many, many reasons. The first, you are the youth, of course, right? But also to entrepreneurship, more than 50% of Mexican women in the United States think that to advance in that country, they need to found a business. That's a huge number because the American community is well known for business, but the community has to. Americana has an index of 42%, Mexican women in the United States 50%. Insane, you have to have a business ahead. And 82% of Mexican women are focused on construction. It is not a heritage for them, and that is also a difference with other women in this. The United and they are not thinking about anything else to do. They are not thinking only about money, of course. Money matters a lot, and of course. The Mexicanas also have ambition, but they are already thinking about building a heritage. When you are already buying a house, and especially when you are founding a business, they are thinking about their families, it happens. In their peers and also in their children, they are already left. Leave something to your children because for us, family is extremely. And remember that within a business and with any other mission, the most important thing. It motivates you to do it, and this makes Mexican women very powerful because the motivation is to create heritage for people around us. Forward. There is another very important ingredient for which Mexican women are having excellence. One is optimism. We have one of the results of the report that we are going to launch. 26% of Mexican women think that right now. So much better than 2 years ago, and remember what we are going where the United States a very challenging situation. It's a situation where one would expect this result to be less, right? Why? For all the now I really repeat the challenges. I don't want to put it. I rated more cheese, but because of the challenges we are going through in that country, but nevertheless, who do not continue to think that they are better than 2 years ago. They also think that they are better off than their parents, and also at the same level as non-Mexicans think that your children are going to be fine, and for you who in this states, some of you who have been in the United States lately, that is a term. Optimistic. Go ahead with the next one, please. One other of the characteristics that fascinated me as a Mexican is that the Mexicans feel ready to become leaders. This is extremely important. You guys, this report, I think there was mentioned last time, we did it with Cantor United States, which is one of the organizations. In fact, it is the world leader of the consumer in general and agree. Cantor's numbers, 69% of Mexican women say they are ready to lead. In 70% of Mexican women, look around and see the Mexican women we know. 70% of all those are ready to lead, the number of other women. It's because they weren't Mexican, it's 59. There is a great leadership movement in the United States, but Mexican women are the ones who think they have the most leadership of all. Forward. And what causes move them? Why is that also very important? Tanti, of course, as can be expected, one of the most important causes is the right wing. Immigrants, because you were born there or not, you are affected by that, not just for your family. Mediate, but by the perception of what a Latina is in the United States. Perception is extremely important to us. We work hard to ensure that media representations, both in entertainment and as news, be positive. Of course we report and we must report, but problems and so on, but it is very important that the representation, and these numbers were based, not the small crime rate we have, or an index of people who are suffering tremendously there are 16% of Mexican women in the United States who live in the poor, but there are 84% who do not live in the poor. Poverty, and no one is talking about it, so representation is very, very important. And for Mexican women, one of the things that most motivates this representation, and this need to be seen for what we are based on these numbers, is immigrant rights. And also women's rights, one of the things. Let's see if I don't have time to go through this, but one of the characteristics, which are also very beautiful Mexican women in the United States, they have a devotion, we could say, for causes with, such as the warming of the world, for the environment, for the conservation of, and evils for the rights of many communities that do not. In rights in some countries, etc. And then, of course, women's rights are very. So much for Mexicans and how. Wow, these averages include both women's rights and immigrant rights. They are more prominent in our community. Next, please. And another thing, and the president has talked about this many times, we also do it. We discussed is the importance of the family, which is one of the gifts that we bring to any country we go to, that we have in this country, thank God, and after. And we take the countries we go to, the United States is one of them, which is the devotion and the dedication. Action to the family, and here they are all, if you say, it is very interesting. 45% of Mexican women in this. The United States is married, compared to non-Mexicans it is 36%. And 60% of women in the United States have children, and only 54% of non-Mexican women have children, and this. We return to the same thing, we talk about this motivation to do create wealth, no, for the family, for the children. So this is extremely important. Yes, next please. Okay, well. We have a lot of data that we are going to share with you in the future. But I want to finish by telling you that these numbers are very important, but I think the most important thing is the intensity with which I emit them. Kana's work, as we saw, with what Mexicans undertake. And there is here is a graph that I will share with you in the future of how they start businesses and how Mexican women integrate due to their constant youth. Mind every year to that 18-year-old workforce. This is a trend. Mexican women are not the future of the country, the United States. They are the present of this country, and it is extremely important that they begin to know us for that. We are the, and these are the data that confirm it. Thank you. In the beginning, go ahead, who's going to speak first? I think I need something else to get in there. Very good morning, Dr. President. Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot. The space, my name is Miriamora Ellis Hernandez, and I act as the invader this month. How unstoppable, and I feel very proud to be part of a great team that promotes sports. The culture, I thank little star Lorna. for opening the doors and for trusting me completely. That and proudly mystical, the Jaquenia and Wells. Last weekend competing in the Great Chinese Morea for the first time. Women, 2 women in the Stequas, and 3 rare Muras competed for the first time in Muralla, China. Of native peoples. First places breaking records. And 2 second places, 1 third place. Well, this is part of the... That Mexico is a parable of giving visibility to us. It is a great pride to bring ours. Roots originate us on the other side of the world, and that through this initiative from Mexico we are paralyzed. We can go out thanks to it. We have your opportunity to go abroad more. And well, it's good that these talents are reflected, and well, thank you. With this support, we can go out in sport. Also mention that there are. At the beginning of the year in January, we were present in Hong Kong competing. From many cultures. How to feel the May. Tomi Mystico, if Regamuras too, we had the participation. And each of our colleagues did a good job. They did a lot of work good. Good places for Mexico, and that's what we feel like. Those who are very proud to be able to transcend in sport and to be able to take our culture to the other side, to be able to demonstrate that dreams come true, and we can show the youth that. Fight for your dreams, and through this, with the initiative of the presidency, we can achieve great goals, we can transcend in sport, and that this does not end, that this continues, because not to. Others help us as athletes, as great talents, to stand out and gain more experience abroad. Well, it's part of what we live. And what we like to experience, because we have traveled great paths, we have traveled great trails, and what we like most is the mountains. Here is a present image of what we lived the weekend. Tonio got first place, he broke the record. Sabina third place, Balvin second place in the 21 kilometers. Second place in the 21 kilometers, and yours truly, first place in the 21 kilometers breaks in the record of the event. Thanks so long. No, I want to thank Mexico a lot for giving me the opportunity and giving me visibility to promote sports, to promote culture, and that this does not end. Thank you for opening the doors and giving us great opportunities abroad. Below we will present a little video. Thank you. Which I like so much. Good morning, thank you very much, President. Well, yes, even everyone up to this point, I have just seen the idea and the truth that fills me with a lot. In the same emotion before. I want to comment very quickly on this participation that the 5-3 had. On the Chinese wall, remembering that Miriam Morales won first place in Hong Kong. And January, and then it was again, winning this first place. On the Chinese wall, breaking the record, and a moment ago, I was telling the president that more than 60 participated. About countries and everyone, almost all of them had to do with the Mexicans with the boys to take photographs. Antonio Ramirez, Lorna's brother of the great Ramirez dynasty also. The record, and when they went to the awards ceremony, they were the two boys who were 40 minutes after Antonio's arrival, they bowed in great admiration. And many media outlets approached her. And all that emotion, and this is what we are looking for with Mexico and Para. Thanking you, President, for this initiative to support, to believe in sport, to unite what sport is, culture and tourism, and give visibility. Quickly, the unstoppable Mexico, that there are 4 races of this cereal. The first was root. Nices de agua, which is the Mayan culture that we started in Palenque, Chiapas. We had a participation of 500 participants. Before. Today, this great race is emotional, where we unite the native peoples, and it was the beginning. It is the beginning of unstoppable Mexico. Later, sometimes of fire in December 2025 with a participation of 6,000 attendees. Here in Mexico City and well beyond, we have been building a great community of people who participate in indigenous peoples, and above all, also in everything. The people who have joined this great and emotional project to be able to give it that ability to the native peoples, and the sea was March 22. That was root of land with a participation of 500 participants. Attendees, we must remember that this events are held in places, in emblematic places with stories of Mexico and also seek. We are going to leave an economic branch in the communities and in the places where we are participating, and well, here comes the last chapter. Title that Lorna Ramirez is going to present to you right now. Thank you, President, for the area. Perry Cesar and President. Commitment, thanks for the space. Hello, good morning, everyone. The last race we have in Start the Copper, Hurique, Chihuahua. It's going to be the 7th of June, and this is the shirt, and you scratch me. And we have 3 distances. We invite all people to runners in Chihuahua, different states that participate with us this last, or career that we have, and we run supporting to the champion runners and also champions. Thank you for the space, President. And well, here we also have the route, and this one did it. On June 7, there we wait for 6 and 7. June, there we are, we wait to go to the response. And they are going to face the municipal copper. We will be seen, we are going to see each other, we are going to see each other. And it's like I did it to myself. It's Saturday, many reactions, many pujas applying to me like a battle mojo. It's the change of Igualrum, it takes you away. Thank you, come on, Let's watch a video. It's this. Oh, past that. And there it is. Tierra. LOR story every step doesn't. When the road is. I can't reach it. A sorbes, a distinct. Name is a route. At the top of the ravines of. You like it. Let's go out for a while.
México imparable. Raíces de aire.
Barañas de Copio in 26. Welcome to my house. By all means, hey, it's all out. 4G Fira. Thank you so much. Well, these are the 3 information notes of today. Now let's move on to the questions. Let's train here. Hello, good morning, President. Good morning, everyone. My question is for Miriam. Congratulations to all of you. What pride does it hold for us? In sport, Miriam, the question would be, being so young, what advice? Of all women of all ages to trust us. Which are mos. Unstoppable women, and there is no age to fulfill dreams. That at any age you can make your came his goals, and even to be able to run. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter. Since we were little, we learned to run. That's how we were born, and that's of our lives in letting go. Learning, yes, but above all, learning from each experience and never to stop trusting yourself. Thank you, Miriam. Don't introduce me, sorry. My name is Marcel. Good informative networks. Nice to meet you, President, regarding the sovereignty. Girl, we trust you completely if you tell us. Mexican Day safe from war, let's shout with you. Sometimes we feel that with the government. We have a little left to do with privatizations. Beaches with gentrification, with dispossession. And well, there's nothing we can control. Speak this new colonization that feels this way. And why don't we charge visas for Americans and Canadians? Imagine how many supports. We could get away with all that. You're right that you continue to see abuse, let's say. In a certain place, what is the difference between the search policy? Survive the government promoted the policy of use of dispossession. Well, they took away our businesses. Of the Mexicans, they stripped us of mine, they stripped us of the nation's wealth before it came from it. Now it still happens in a certain place. And what there is, well, is that you have to be constantly aware. That is why participation is very important to Dane. Where there is a legitimate demand, because sometimes it does not necessarily go. But where there is a legitimate demand for of announcement of privatization of beaches, because there you have to be in Barnard to open. The roads where there is a complaint of dispossession of an area for dispossession. Role of something private that it was done illegally because there are some. And we have to keep working, it's just a different vision for us. We fight that. Always with the law because it is what corresponds to us. And before it was, well, from the government, that is the big difference. And about the views, well, it's a proposal, we don't. We are against the people of the United States. What's more, we want there to be brotherhood among peoples. We denounce when there are discriminatory policies or actions against our countrymen and women, of people or governments, but we don't want to enter a conflict with the United States nor with its people, clear. We have limits on collaboration and coordination. Although it has precisely to do with the defense of sovereignty, then an idea can be raised. But we want them to come to Mexico to know the cultural wealth that will make you fall in love with our, which is the best way for you to return to your country. Get to know the cultural greatness of Mexico, the greatness of the landscapes. So we leave it as an idea, but we can also, and to be taken as a conflict and to make things worse. Avoid conflicts unless necessary. Perfect. And finally, about the zoom-out flotilla. Do we have news? Yes, let's see if Roberto gives us what. Lastly, we will be happy to inform you, and our position is always the defense of the. They are desires, and particularly with this aggression that has no justification. Thank you very much, President. Thank you. Let's go this way. AC, thank you very much, President. A very good morning. Gaspar Vela and Grupo Milnio, first of all, questionable regarding the meeting that took place yesterday, previously from the United States. Later he posted on Twitter in which he mentioned that it had been addressed, it had been discussed. Strengthening Mexico's efforts against narco-terrorists, that was touched on this topic, President. The relationship was very clear in the meeting, or at least that was what we set out to do is, and it became very clear. Okay. Collaboration between the United States and Mexico is collaboration. Coordination, that there is no coordination, and is it better for both countries to coordinate well, those say. Let's go, our positioning that we proposed there. From the Secretary, a recognition of the work that Mexico is doing. And I asked him why not the meetings we have regarding security understanding. So have I done them often, so that there are no misunderstandings, and that the colleague is being monitored of collaboration, and it was agreed that the next meeting of this group is in June, and from then on it is Gigada. Working on collaborations. So that was the tone of the meeting. He introduced himself. The security results, how we are collaborating, how we are coordinating, and I also told him with alls. Transparency, well, what our laws and our Constitution are. How does collaboration have to be in a certain framework? What joint operations? They don't make your territory, our laws don't allow it, or the Constitution, that collaboration has to be in other marketing. And the truth is, I think it was a good meeting for both parties. Well, we agreed to continue working, collaborating, so I put it there. Within the framework of respect that they have. So in Mexico and we towards the United States. On behalf of something, some 7 specific requests, President, nothing more than what is in the agreement we made in the month of September, in the understanding of the month of September. Let's follow up on him. Visiting Carteria is completely ruled out by UNS. It's postponed to June, I think, whenever it comes. The security team, when we're looking at that, it wasn't an issue. Not about the agenda, it wasn't a matter of not wanting to come. If not, it's an agenda item and you're looking for the best time. So hit him. Union of Understanding would be here in Mexico City in June. Yes, the first understanding meeting. Well, the follow-up, what we had was who in our country, I don't know if in the end. Miss on the date, I think they are about to define the pros in June. Okay, and on Wednesday, the meeting on Wednesday is held. Do you maintain the start of talks on the review of the treaty? Okay. Very good, President. On a second topic, today Mañanera published that the Sinaloa prison evaded the inspection of the National Electoral Institute in the commissions of 2 municipalities of Morelos, where according to the Attorney General's Office of the Republic, this cartel had put money in the 2024 commissions. Ask them if the initiative they presented to us yesterday contemplates a strengthening this inspection or what other actions can be done. I don't know which one it is. Exactly what the 1,000 note raises. Any. What is the source? Because you have to put everything in your just dimension, so on the note is that. Link the prosecutor's office, bowlines, and that in effectuality. What the Millennium is proposing, the initiative of Yair has the goal that what makes dying with your candidates institutionalize for everyone, all political parties, that is, that the political parties can have knowledge before nominating them. If there is a person who is being investigated or who has some risk such as that Luis Amaria mentioned it, and the decision to apply or not is his own political party, so instead of just asking the prosecutor or asking, there has been security, well, what line forms a commission, that the WIF has contact with the prosecutor's office, other institutions of the Mexican state of their own, the advisors, and if a political party wants to consult, so consult through the line and the line with lie of the situation that the institutions of the Mexican state give him, he can respond to the It is the objective of the initiative that was presented on her day, and once the campaigns present how to avoid this, that organized crime puts this money in cash. I remember that his electoral reform plan had a point in that sense, right? Inspection, strengthening inspection, it was left to the INE. Of the INE inspection area can make agreements with the WIF. Then they can make agreements with the WIFT and be able to carry out greater inspection to strengthen a line, because finally, in the institution and to the electoral tribunal itself, in case it already. Will a situation like this happen now? Okay, President, also ask you this. Ana Mailneo published that the Financial Intelligence Unit had begun a review of the companies of the children of the governor on leave in Sinaloa, Ruben Rocha. Let them know if the WIF itself has blocked or initiated an investigation into Rojan Rocho's children. UFO was blocked from risks, which is an automatic way. I have particular knowledge of who it was that blocked, right? They recently reported some crashes they made from. Of this automatic situation, I have not informed myself about YFest. Yes, that's some suspension, right? Because they don't call it freezing, they call it, no, they don't call it blockage, they call it Tino Trapperal. For someone to teach it. Finally, it introduces the United States Department of Justice. I have filed charges against the former president of Cuba, Raul Castro, also in the week. The former Bimo president, Evo Morales, has accused him. They extract the list of accused from the United States. What position does their government have in this regard? The self-determination of peoples had and only an interventionist vision of the United States. It's not from now. The first time Evo Morales applied, they accused him in 2004. What is that? We check looks to go. That it was that he was linked in some other way to drug trafficking. For being an indigenous leader from an area of coca production, coca leaf, not coca. And the government of Evo Morales is because it has been the best government that Bolivia has had in history. And the results speak for themselves. The gross domestic product increased. Income increased. People's standard of living increased. You work inequality decreased. I strengthened. And they were sovereignty over their natural resources. So it's a vision of what they can. It's a shine. In other countries, we do not agree with that vision. And the case of Cuba occurred 15 years ago. Children which they are accusing Raul Castro of, or are you going to leave? I don't know. That. No, it falls on you when you come out. No, it falls on you. Oh, well, 30 years ago, imagine, it makes sense. That at this moment they accuse a person of something that happened like this. Internally. I continue reading Miguel's memories. From Madrid, among other books that I am reading, particularly the parts of the relationship with United States and Ambassador Gaby. It has phrases there, let's see if we can present them later, where it says United States. I have explored the issue of drug trafficking as pretext for engineering. So we have to be clear about that. Now what do you? We have to become different as a country. As a government, be clear about that. And at the same time, collaborate with them where we can collaborate. That we don't want. Read with them. And so far in many areas, they have been respectful. And I also think that they are certain sectors. You cannot generalize the United States government, so our possibility. Because, among other things, well, because there are 40 million Mexicans. She has Mexican in this way. Be in a good relationship, and we will always look for it. But we cannot forget it. Well, there is another intention too. In what they do, and historical it is not. Of historical hours, I repeat with many. There have been governments that do not establish collaboration, but beyond that, how did it happen to him now? That's right, Chihuahua, so we say we collaborate. Why didn't I tell the Secretary of Security yesterday? We collaborate, we coordinate, but joint operations on the ground. Our Constitution does not allow it. We have to look for other mechanisms of collaboration, of coordination, and he understood it. And the important thing is that we continue collaborating. It is true that the important thing is that we continue with paying it and avoiding more experts. And that we put our people and the relationship of our governments, that's always going to be our position, but we must not forget history. We must not forget it because, well, if not, We talk to each other, we see the issue as if it were something isolated. The entire context must be taken into account. Thank you, President. Let's go this way. Let's see the partner who doesn't. Good morning, Laura Rana del Sol from Mexico. President published a few weeks ago in the Solda in Mexico that the government of Mexico in the species, and with the Secretary of the Interior, determining to include her in nomination, mother, seeker, grabs protection law of human rights defenders and journalists, such as the Order of the Interna. In the American human rights, they argue that a series of protections are already given to these characters from these sectors, but why not include the term if it could give us a great favor? The Ministry of the Interior. And that the government secretariat must have a legal reason. It has nothing to do with not supporting search mothers. It has to do with something more legal. Then let the Ministry of the Interior explain it to you, but you have to. That is to say, the Rasay and Sela secretary receives the schools every 15 days. These reasons are working with mothers and relatives of people from Zazar and are moving forward. Find people in. He mentioned in the last press conference that more than 5,000 people have been found who had been reported missing. Going down, we continue working. President, I had commented here he is coming. A commission from Petrobras to learn and come. We could please you, please. There are no more 20. They left and returned to Brazil. Come on. Is going to sign an understanding agreement with Petrobras. You will not have developed various activities that interest us. One activity is the exploration activity in deep waters with these different methodologies that we are starting at this moment. Develop the world in this type of exploration. So we are interested in working with them on this issue. Deep and shallow waters too. In fields, for example, called hard. Mature fields are those fields where very little oil comes out of there, and for anything else you would have to put a lot of resources into it, so they have developed methodologies that end fields. Mature people visualize through different base exploration. Then mechanisms if in a more profound way. There is more oil there, there is a date, this plecity seems. Union, we want to assign the maintenance. In June, okay, I don't know if I'm going to Brazil. Let's get into that because there are many issues in the country, not for any other. But that does not mean that we do not have the understanding agreement. Mex Petrobras, finally, with the United States official who visited our country yesterday, they talked about the issue of the governor on leave. They don't see the point. He didn't already tell you something. No, we did not touch on the subject, because that is a matter of the United States Department. So it's just 3 titles. Let's go to this side to see the people. Good morning, President Janzas. The Sarda Dot made networks. Ask the INED. IG, he has reported, since there is one of those elaborations. Inflation, according to the measurement last April, that I dreamed GDP increased than they expected. It was little, but it increased and inflation ended. And among other things, it has to do with the activities that we have been doing. There is nothing more than the market, that is. Inflation decreases, unlike in the past. In the past, by inflation, well, it is a macroeconomic measure that must be done, increase it. The interests of the Bank of Mexico, and that also put a brake on the economy. Not now the Bank of Mexico. Digico said that inflation increased a little. These are seasonal issues. It's not worth going up. The interest rate was even lowered last. And we work with gas stations too. Leave the price of fuel, the incentives so that fuel prices do not change. The increase in oil, we strengthen the country. In fact, it is going to sign a new round of the Pacific this coming week. And I've already been working a lot with lumbas. With the Abasto plans to reduce the price of the tumbamate, which does not. There is speculation if it may be that there is not enough Tegidomatica, and that is why prices were increased. But there is no speculation with that price, so you've been working a lot with the center. And the result is this 4 points. 100%. We're going well. President, it is according to what was published by a national media, the universal one of the Attorney General's Office of the Republic. I would say that the Ferias executed 3 sailors and a prosecutor. A denial has come out from the Attorney General's Office of the Dice-Row Republic. It already came out that good because the prosecutor meant to a day where the morning wants to be false. It's good that they already published that it is false. And they got it. Why are we going to do the special program on fake news? In addition to the lie detector, you are already prepared. In June, it will start. A seminal program that Luis will coordinate. Why Luisa? Luisa Maria yesterday, Luisa Maria, Luisa Maria. Well, because the right to information is a constitutional issue. Council, pure and decadent has to do with that, so she is going to coordinate this program. Work is being done well because there are a lot of daily fake news, lots of it, like this one, which is 8 Colombias and or like yesterday when they change military commanders, well, they do it every 2 years, then is false as well. Says the prosecution. For that reason, but the journalistic note has no source. The prosecutor's office has arrived, because the prosecutor's office has no information about that. But it's false, good President in. On another topic, the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, yesterday, in a speech since in Mexico, that the European Union needs Mexico, the world needs Mexico, Europe wants to invest more in Mexico, this speech that even gives him recognition. And then as our president Mexico and the role that you are playing in this, there is already this trade agreement, here even you have mentioned it. But it is strengthening this commercial approach and doing this after. How resolved it comes. Mexico, and there are some there who left how they are going to speak. Yes, the Senate rostrum indeed. What is your opinion, President? Well, thank you, Antonio. Until he is President of the European Council, and Ursula Versillo comes to PI. The found von der Leyen, who is President of the European Commission, we are going to see them in a little while together with Kaja Kallas, High Representative of the European Union for a Foreign and Security Policy and Sefcovi frameworks. European Food Commissioner. Yes, economic security, interinstitutional relations, and transparency. And we will see you in a moment. We will sign this update. A global free trade agreement with Europe still lacks some processes, or it has to be approved by the Senate of the Republic. But I am very grateful because the truth is, and a good relationship and recognition of Mexico and government of Mexico of the work that we have been doing together in CFI. And when it is fashionable, among other things, they are going to see it. And what she wanted was to see the Nucito of anthropology. She met with women from indigenous peoples. So the recognition has been identified and the vindication of the people. So that's what I'm already crossing borders. Some in Mexico do not. It's liked because deep down they hide a lot of dirt. Same I go, Krauss wrote an article saying, the false indigenism of the Mexican government. We must recognize that we are mestizo. But of course there was miscegenation. First we have to see how that miscegenation originally occurred. Safi, that a different culture was built, well, obviously that is obvious. The problem is that for years they did. See how it was a meeting of two worlds, friendly. That built a mixture, and as if you just knew it was. The new man of a universal from Mexico. And of course you mixed race the first. Some of it was brutal, forced. With a lot of violence, but the most important thing in the and the indication that we make of the native peoples in all their facets, from the great cultures, the great end, that existed in Mexico before the arrival of the Spanish and the today his greatness, his wealth and sport, in the culture and pride that Mexicans should feel, of the native peoples all. Are there some who don't like it? They don't like it. Why don't they like it? Well, because of his racism. Why not? How is it possible for me, a white man, to claim that I come from the originals? Although we have had precedent, among Europeans we have it obligatory. They did like Mexicans beyond our particular ethnic origin, to vindicate the cultural greatness of Mexico. And by vindicating the great cultural heritage of Mexico, we vindicate the people. Today, and we claim that the values of those cultures are those that have allowed the construction of Mexican acid values, of the Mexican families, of the people of Mexico. That allows dignity, builds dignity. It allows us to recognize our origins and be proud. So, well, what many Mexicans tell you, that's what's at work. They do not recognize in Europe, either in the President of the Group Council, and the recognitions comes the President of the Commission. European, and the first thing that museum wants to know is anthropology. And to meet with women from indigenous peoples, good ones. Huge symbol, so we appreciate that gesture, that symbol. And at the same time, we build not only of warping in that vision if we do not construct photos. In a different way, no. Creating our rules. People as a great country. But claiming. What is stronger than that? What else was? Cortaliza is what has the most dignity. The court gives us I snag the crowbar negotiably. So it's a good meeting and a good thing. I'm sorry, I am very grateful for your words towards me. And it's going to be a good meeting today, and the signing that is also well. A symbol that Mexico has a treaty. Trade with the United States, and we want to maintain it, strengthen it. Because America in North, when we are together, we are better, but also it is open to other markets from other places and to investment from other countries. Feel about the reforms that you sent, the reform initiatives. About the judicial power in particular, in these changes that they propose, which has already been explained to us in detail, has also emerged. A question about the court's turn, of the presidency of the Suprema Court of Justice, which, that at first what is up to now is that it is a Made J narrow, but also voting, that is, right now it is. And it's not, oh, there's something that. Let's say it contradicts what is in the Constitution. Nor is it clear, honestly, I would leave it to the court. How would you like it after the first election to the judiciary? Submit a pro. Put in that sense if the legislators want to do it at. And in any case, let it be the Court Aquina itself who decides on the next president to president. They are all very good at courts. There are some that others don't like. The truth is that it is as Glaudin said. Here are some businessmen who came. The change in the judiciary generates uncertainty. Laugh say I brought that speech. I said it well, tell me. A court ruling that has affected a company. Not the other way around. There were resolutions in court that. Are they in favor of companies to find salt? There have been at least 2 that I have. That has a count. What do you want to go to that? Well, it's not there. The court asking the government, what do you want it to resolve or decide? Based on an ideology or right, he's doing just. Yes, what there is no longer in the court is corruption. But if nothing else is yours, do you want it? And regarding the electoral of these more initiatives, yesterday it was presented that there will also be what has happened. Presented here about this that also already a companion here, my companion of my. The year I asked about shielding the elections in some way. Or against organized crime also the. And more may be presented by Ricardo. Of the parliamentary coronador, the initiative for the annulment of elections. Well, it's interesting, by Inj. Get foreigner, he sent me a note, Ricardo Monreal from. That I was proposing that, what did I think, because then they believe that we are there. It was his initiative and I think it's fine. In truth, I think it is a good initiative because in Mexico we decide the. And Gray, what it does is tell its initiatives. If it is demonstrated that there is interference from other countries in the elections, then, whether for the line for the court a matter of the election, then I think it's fine, so here. And us and I am referring to the people of Mexico, now to comply, President. Governor Maru Campos of Chihuahua that there was already a lot of talk about the subject because of the CIA. Also ask about what you have an agreement with. The Texas government, that is, state government Chihuahua with the. Of Texas regarding migration, security, various topics, ask. If this is also legal or violated. Some article for everything that has already been handled. Of the actions of this governor, well, let it be analyzed, right? No, you have to see up to 2. Where does that agreement that was signed in 22 come from? I think, right? Yes, it was not messed up. Police the scope of that agreement and that it looks like this. It is violatolic of the Sagrania or not, but no. And the agreement, I saw the note, but well, it is analyzed. Would you ask for it to be analyzed? Not personally, there was in the corresponding instances that. Thank you, President, we have already made our position. And we say it publicly, we say it. We have printed, we have done to the United States authorities, to everyone. Is it with brewing without flavor of a nation? It comes nothing more. And it is going to be specified that I have it here very quickly. Among the most relevant points are exchanges, information and intelligence, coordination against trafficking of drugs, weapons, and people, actions to reinforce the security, including splinterizos, technological and operational collaboration between corporations, facility, commerci transports, participation of U.S. agencies in coordination tasks to the border. Well, it's strange because there are two state governments. That's how it is. You have the agencies then. They are federal. It's worth analyzing. I made my approach there. I do it and I continue to do it. There is a vision of a sector of the conservatives of the Mexican right. What do you think? There needs to be more intervention and more influence from foreign governments in Mexico for different topics and a particular for security. We believe in sovereignty and independence of Mexico, and we collaborate with different governments and we search the best examples that the world has to be able to develop them, and in particular with the United States collaborates, we coordinate, but it has an element of coordination and collaboration, and it is what? Both in our Constitution and our laws. Because there is also an idea there. And it's important. So many we can't stay Mexicans. And that we necessarily need the outside to be able do what we have to do. Mexico, this Mexican is very strong. And the security institutions to the Mexican state as well, from the armed forces that guard internal security and national security, and that this year, 2018, they support public security efforts, as established by the Constitution, which, by the way, was the president of the PES Obrador who legalized it. He did it. Because before the armed forces were used. But it was not within the law promoted by the presidents. So President López Obrador said, it is important that they participate, but there remains a legal framework, and it was approved at the time by Congress in the court. But hey, it's another topic. The institutions of the Mexican state, the Secretariat of National Defense. The Mexican army is something. Big brother, Sanmaru. Omi from Mexico, there have been times in history that Commander, your prize of the armed forces, ordered them to do things with which we do not agree as repressions at the time, but he was the supreme commander of the armed forces, that is, the presidents then is in. The 68th was Orda's days. Whoever ordered it, recognized it, and put it for that reason. He is responsible for what happened there in the plaza of Tlatelolco and other moments. Your little Mexican soldiers are a great institution. Then we minimize the story. Imagine you. Stay in the moment. 1913. After Wood. Do you bring out the San Luis plan? Calls the people to arms in 1910. November 20, people of Mexico raising. These have weapons on November 20 at 6 p.m. That's how it is. Why to overthrow? Porfirio days, the worst regime that existed in the history of Mexico. Neoliberalism copied many things from it. The president. What if a fan of relationship with the outside, while inside here he repressed from exterminating and would have exploded and gave people's lands. Foreigners and nationals, Madero calls for arms. Weapons are raised. Because of Mexico with great leaders, and shortly after finally and days of closure, no. If it grows, elections are made and Wood wins. The power arrives. Log, yes, Madero can be considered not to have been close to the town. And he didn't know. Meet the demands of the people of Reparto Agrario for better conditions for the workers, but he was a man who thought that democracy, and it will solve all the problems. But he was a legitimately elected president, and a coup d'etat is coming. From a part of the army supported by, we know, a United States embassy. Alp is here, they arrest Madero, they lock him up in the National Palace. They are going to take him to the other side and murder him along with Uers Pines, outside national jurisdiction, and victory is no longer a garden. Coup is supported by the army. The Porfiriato, in that circumstance, a governor rises. Tondo. The one from Coahuila, the same state as Madero. Carranza, just one. Imagine that in a race you don't have many things that. They are criticizable, but he has that heroic act that is unique. I'm so crazy. That is, with what I taught at that time, and Carranza calls the Constitution of the Constitutionalist Army. And who forms it? The people. That calls for rebellion. To end the coup d'etat. Of course, seeing a popular rebellion because that was coming. From before, because of the Porfiriate and the injustices. Well, that army is the chosen base. It is a Mexican army, in other words, it is an army that was formed against a coup d'etat by the people. Well, that institution. All institutions are perfect, but it is an institution. Trained generals who are people with comprehensive training. Extraordinary. With the Cardin laser, they divide two in the Marines. Of higher Agarostia, that institution of the Mexican state is the one that help all Mexicans every day. When it rains, they are there. With the Navy, there is a tragedy. Oh, it is, oh, insecurity. They are the ones who have. Colo National Guard, well, that's Sista. Institutions that we Mexicans are proud of because they are the best rated. Every time the defense, the Navy, and the National Guard, even above the government. There are people who don't believe in them. And they say that they came from outside to help us or that they can't. What do we say? We must strengthen the guard, we must consolidate, we must. The state police must also. You just have to work with. We must create police commands, we must create secretarial commands. Of security, the municipal one is therefore also. But there is an institution called the National Guard which works every day for the security of the country and a security secretariat, security and citizen protection that has been strengthened to carry out intelligence investigations to make arrests. Well, those institutions are the ones that protect the people of Mexico, of mafias, of cartels, of insecurity. Those institutions. We are proud of them. Now we collaborate with the United States, yes. A clear taste. Today they want to help us train ourselves in training Adnar. Don't you? Well, is it historical? Today we are going to collaborate on intelligence for what? Very good, perfect. I want to decide inside there, no, it's her right. It's how they wanted. I invite you to eat, we talk, we see how you fix your house and how. I regulate it in mine, it is very different than between that. And home to wanting to have the kitchen, to have the rare Mara. And rule in my house, not precious. Because my house is my house, I don't. The house of the people is the house of the... It's called Mexico, but there are PA-nists, PRIA-nists. That they don't believe that Mexicans don't believe that they don't have. Nation project for the country, and what about? That they have dedicated themselves to, particularly in the last 2 years. There are no hairs here that go there. Did you see? Army of Mexico. It's the difference between a government that operates. Beyond that, the ONO with a vision is alleged, which is the same vision as Calderon, who also, I don't lead to anything, and our visions. It is in Mexico the people rule and they cut us off. And we join with the United States so that for good of Mexico and for the good of the United States, the best. What we can do is that there is a good relationship between our governments, between our people, but with res. That's what we say here. And that is what seems fundamental to me beyond the par. That do not correspond to the president, the prosecutor's office is in. In any case, if there are crimes, that's what I think should. Of course, one vision and the other. Results in one case and the results in the other. And a tan, well, it's now 9:06 Amos. Magic. The timing is going to be resolved because... Is a port in Baja California, sir, a decree that actually... I was looking to update some themes, but never. He thought about more ships arriving, and then the Secretary of the Navy is working. Why don't there be any problems? Obviously, we don't want to affect the Valinas. So if you want to talk very soon. But it's not the goal, it's not that now. The Jorito is going to become that 500 ships are going... No, what to see? It had to do with an issue of updating a topic that was legally necessary. But so that there is no problem, that is going to run anyway. Here already inform well adequately. Well, let's go soft country. With your permission, President, I planned, yes, President. He greeted her with great respect in the Nahuatl language. La Nasica, friends. As I told you, I just greeted you in the Anahuatl language, a variant spoken in the state of Puebla. And friend Lorna, are you safe? We welcome you. To Suave Patria, this space that recognizes that the connection of greatness precisely without found in indigenous peoples and communities because our eyes is pure art and from the expressions of our ancestors to modern artists and increasing characters and stories has been a way of telling who we are. Therefore, in each piece of cardboard, in every piece of paper, in every stroke of color, there is a narrative that does not. It is written with dust and letters, if not with the creative one, of the native peoples, therefore for some time now. And how long ago our artisans have had the ability to transform dreams into reality. Come with me, friends, let's see how you imagine it. In our Mexico, it has no limits.
El
Virija creature, fantastic that unites the real and the impossible, Mexican vibrant hybrida. Add feathers to the claws and painted with the lipstick of a nation. That always transforms. It's not just craftsmanship, it is the soul of a country that dares to. Dream out loud, they do not have molds, but they simply are not. Made completely by hand, sculpted look. Each process so unique there is, and repeatable, perhaps something similar may come out but not the same. Time has been changing, and so now we add a little more of life, since the first ones were with the simplest decoration. Less bright colors, so today we are already updating the way of doing things. Jealousy and decoration and colors, also with what is painted. Nation in 1936. The fever of a cartonero from Mercedes. Pedro Linares saw a forest where, stone to Sirebo, they shouted a single word: brinjal. Pridges, when healed, gave him body. The dream with cardboard and rough, Frida and Diego saw it, but not even popular art became eternal art. That vision inspired carving. Apothecary punchers, the tonas were born. Wooden naguals, protectors with a different soul. Techniques, two roots, the same Mexico that turns delirium into a job. I think he did it as a tasting, if after having had. Now his health problem is so much an engraving that he puts them in comatose state to reality, and then now it really started to. And join them little by little, when in reality the alebrijes are completely, at the time, made of paper and cardboard, and that are originally from Mexico City. It is a small ice tars, and from here came the joys of the city of Mezco and for the world. No, practically, the alebrijen does not copy form. The invention is cardboard that obeys a vision, or what only existed in a dream. Mexico nation, and that is why it is unrepeatable, because here the imagination has no limits. Alebrijes are colorful creatures that inhabit the imagination. Mexican, with its magnificent figures, remind us that fantasy has roots. That many times what seems impossible only needs color to reveal itself. We are a land with many bright heads, thousands of strong arms, light compise, and millions of